everyone, welcome to the SMITE Guide to Rolls. I'm doing a different version of these, partially because Draco did request an updated version. Second, there does need to be an updated version for two reasons. First off, itemization has changed a decent bit, and second off, I don't think I covered out-of-role classes before. I'm sorry, but I gotta be the solo here. Now I'm going to choose Sun Wukong as my solo lane here, mostly out of personal preference. He's one of my favorites. I don't want to get too complicated here with the solo lane yet. So we're going to start with someone nice and straightforward, which would be Sun Wukong. Now, when you are playing the solo lane, you have one goal in the early game, and that goal is to get as beefy as possible. That is it. Are they going to pick, or are they just going to... That was last second. That is your goal in the early game. By early game, say your first roughly 12 levels. In the mid to late game, you're going to be really looking to frontline in one of two specific ways, depending on who on your team is doing weaker. If your support is doing badly, you want to build a little bit more defense items in the second half of the game, and you want to sort of keep the enemy damage off of your damage. If your assassin is behind, if your assassin is doing poorly, you want to build a little bit of damage and see if you can take out the enemy damage with the assassin. Basically, I don't know why I failed that speech check. Basically, what you're trying to do in the long run is support whichever one of the two is doing worse. We're going to grab teleport. This will be relatively important later on. Now, I don't know 100% who I'm facing off against in this lane, so normally you would build some form of protection that's particularly helpful. We're going to take the safe route and go with Soul Eater, and then we are going to go for healing potions. If your particular warriors, you may want Hog. It really depends on the warriors. Some of them don't need it. Sun Wukong is one of these. Some of them do. Now, Sun Wukong does not need that because his Magic Cudgel ability actually does extra damage to minions in jungle camps. So we don't need that extra damage there at all. I might be wondering, Professor, you're building damage. Why? You're building damage first. Well, partially, as I explained earlier, it is because I'm not sure what damage type my opponent is going to be doing. The second reason is you should have two defensive options, two pure defensive options in a standard solo setup. And so I'm going to build my damage out first. Maybe give me a bit of an early boost. That's really why. The rest of my items will very likely be defensive unless the jungler has a really rough time, in which case I may splash another hybrid item over a pure defense. Okay, it's Atlas. That's very interesting. Now, that's very interesting because he's going to be looking primarily to control the flow of the fight here. So as long as I don't get sucked in and waste time with him, basically. I want to lure minion aggro here. Grab some nice poke there. That was not the move I wanted. I wanted the tiger, but that's merely a mild setback. It's a little less damage than it could have been. That's about it. We're going to get some nice poke here. Now, notice that I'm very ahead of him. At this point, this is primarily because of his really bad wave clear. Look how slow that is. And look how little damage it's doing, really. And how easily I can poke him from a distance with my Magic Cudgel. That's what it's really about. Notice here, I'm not trying to chase him. I'm not actively trying to kill him. That's not my goal here. Early game solo lane, it is very, very nearly as useful to keep them away from the minion wave as it is to actually kill them. The first death very rarely matters. I've won tons of times and even pulled ahead a lot of the time, even if I was the first one to die. The first death means basically nothing. I'm gonna be really honest. Later on, it's gonna mean a lot more. We're just gonna poke him there. I really just want to have him lose as much golden experience to his tower as possible. I want him to get assist credits for that. That is primarily what we're looking for here. Now I'm just going to poke him out a little bit. I might actually kill him here. I did. Okay. That wasn't actually what I set out to do. That was simply an opportunity that arose. Again, it's not really going to make a big difference. He's going to be dead for 5 seconds. He's going to teleport back if he has teleport. He should. He does. That's fine. It's really not going to cause that much of a difference. It's going to give me time to get this for pretty much free here, which is nice. That's going to keep me ahead. I'm going to be able to get my damage camp for pretty much free. What did he build as his next item? He's going for pure damage. That's a mistake. No. That itself was not a mistake. It's the form of damage he's going for. I'm going to bet this is probably going to be Gem of Isolation, which it's way too early in the game for. And personally, I'm going to be going for likely Caduceus Shield, which will boost my own healing as well as the healing of my allies and give me both protections. Now, this is important because usually Guardians are a problem in solo lane. I'm actually glad I have an Atlas opponent for this episode. Because normally magic damage opponents pose a bit of a unique problem because you do need to balance your need for physical protections for the towers, the minions, etc., versus your need for the magic protections because of the enemy solo laner being a magic damage type. But Atlas hits like a wet noodle, so I'm actually going to go with something a little bit different from normal. Now, I'm actually going to leave him to that. What I want here is my mana buff. I'm well enough ahead of him that I don't particularly care about him getting a little bit of experience at this point. I'm probably like half a level above him at this point, although he might have caught up with this. That's fine. He's not hitting that hard. You really came all this way over here? That was a total waste of your time. I have a self-heal that's... You should be aware is up. You really should. This is a waste of your time. I might have lower health than you right now, but that's really not going to matter in all of, like, whenever I want, actually. Yeah, he has to back off. Because despite the fact that I theoretically am missing health here, it doesn't make a difference. Who's this? Oh, that's easy. He just wasted his ult. Here's Pele here for some reason. I'm just going to poke out Lancelot. I'm not... Oh, she's going for it. She is either extremely talented or extremely lucky that Atlas missed that. I don't know if she dodged that deliberately or if that was more accident than anything else. I have no idea. That's a very interesting question. Either way, that was fairly successful for us because Lancelot's not in good health condition right now. And he's going to need to back, which is going to give Pele a lot of room to maneuver with, which is really great. I don't know why he bothered coming over here when my ult was up. Atlas knew I hadn't used my ult, because he'd never seen me use it, and I certainly wasn't using it in the jungle. I'm just going to poke him out a little bit here. I took a bit of poke myself that I didn't need to take. I'm not sure what you're trying to accomplish here. My ult is up in 39 seconds. I get a protection buff whenever I'm low enough on health. What are you doing, guy? I'm waiting for him to throw his orb. There it is. And just like that, I've cleared his wave. I get to poke him out some. I'm not going to press this to it. There he is. Alright. I figured he was coming over. I did not expect him to come over that quick. I'm probably going to die here. Yeah, that's fine. I have my teleport up. It is going to take me 20 seconds to get back, but I am going to have Soul Eater, and I know now that I have Atlas, so I can get Caduceus Shield with very little trouble. I'll go ahead and grab a health potion here. Alright. So, a mild setback, but you'll notice that Atlas has only merely caught up to me, rather than actually pass me by. And he's going to go back. He probably has teleport up. I would hope he has teleport up if he backed. And I'm just going to start building these Soul Eater stacks. Doesn't matter if she killed him or not. He apparently didn't... Oh, there he goes. There he goes. Okay. What did he finish building? He built Warlock Staff. Alright, a bit of a really high risk, actually. I'm not sure why he would go for that specifically. That's a risk because his early game as a Guardian, in terms of damage, is already going to be very weak. And that only gives him health and power. And Atlas's scaling isn't high enough to justify needing that much power. Okay, he's slightly ahead of me, but that's going to change in about all 3 seconds. Alright. You can't kill me. Why did you bother wasting your escape like that? I have my ult. You do realize this, correct? No problem. It also helps that I just have way better wave clear than he does. Poke. At this particular point... Oh. At this particular point, all I'm really looking for is just my stacks for my Soul Eater, so that I can start out healing him. Once I get my Caduceus Shield, that's going to be really rough for him. I'm trying to decide what my next protection item should be. I'm kind of leaning towards Genji's Guard for the cooldown and the magic protections. And then I'll go into Glad Shield, and then I'll decide where I'm going to go after that. Actually going to increase the stat here. You bothered with this? Alright. And by the time I come down from my ult, your passive effect will be cleared. And there's Lancelot for some reason. Why he came over here right after I used my ult, I don't know. The instant I used my ult, Atlas should have called it. Lancelot should have gone somewhere else. He came into this lane for no reason. What are you doing, Pele? Ah, boy, the communication on both teams is just not here. I'm just gonna poke him out. Because, interestingly, even though she died, she did enough damage to both of them that... Yeah, he needs to back. I just wanted to scare him, which I accomplished. He's trying to get me under tower is what he's currently doing. That's what he wants. I somehow missed that. That's fine. I almost have the stacks of Soul Eater, excuse me, so we're gonna be just fine. Don't tell me you're honestly trying this, are you? You can't outdamage this. Oh, there we go. I'm just giving mana to my allies, which can really help them out. We're gonna increase our ult at this point. Really? Look. Oh, you're gonna ult me now, huh? Yeah, that's why you shouldn't have stayed there just to ult me. That was a complete waste of your everything. I'm just gonna clear this. I'm gonna grab my mana buff. Oh, no, I can grab that after I clear this wave really quick. I want to clear the wave specifically for 2 reasons. 1, the experience in gold. 2, I get to push another wave under tower. He gets none of that. I'm gonna get Caduceus Shield. I want Genji's Guard. We're gonna teleport over. We're gonna grab some health potions. And off we go. And we're gonna grab our mana buff because my wave... we'll go ahead and do some damage to this. That way he doesn't have an easy time here. There we go. Grab this actually while we're over here. He's not gonna stop me. What is he building next? Okay, he's building... There's 2 different things he could be building. Oh, they stole my mana buff? Or was it dropped and just nobody told me? I am faster than you? I also... The Tiger Form lasts longer than yours does. This is easy to deal with. Look at this. I thought he was going to try to absorb me up there. Hello. Nope. No, you don't. Nice try, though. Yeah, I don't need my mana buff right now. I've got the benefit of the totem. I don't care. Look at this. And I get poke on you because you came at me? Alright, that's cool. Thanks, fam. Let me just go back here and grab some more mana really quick so I can last long enough to get my mana buff. Because that's all I'm waiting for right now. Really? I'm getting absolutely insane amounts of poke on him for no reason. He's wasting all of his damage moves. That auto attack there with the big circle, that's actually a pretty good damage opportunity for him that he is literally throwing away. I'm going to grab the totem here. Again, he's really not going to stop me. Alright. I'm going to walk right in this because he's not going to be able to outdamage me with this. There we go. Now I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to grab this for some bonus mana. Oh, Pele's been dropping my mana. I just haven't been picking up in time. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. She's doing her job. That's alright. I wish she'd warn me. I do wish she'd call out when she drops that. That's just good etiquette. It's not strictly necessary. Theoretically, I should be paying attention well enough to be able to not need that, but it is good etiquette. And that's something that not... actually, that's something almost no one actually talks about really anymore, is SMITE etiquette. Calling things isn't strictly necessary, unless you really think they're going to come over and gank someone. You wasted your ult. Just so you know. Anyways, it's just good etiquette to call missing. For example, and it also depends on when they go missing. Like, if the waves meet, you should call missing. If the waves aren't meeting, maybe calling missing isn't necessary, because they're probably off doing a jungle camp. You know what I mean? It's good etiquette to still say enemy missing when you can't see them, and you don't know where they are, or don't have a good guess. But it's not strictly necessary. What are you doing, guy? Really? Really? Oh, come on. You've got to be kidding me. Is this a joke? No, you're still going at this. Alright, this is not a joke. You're just absolutely insane. My disappointment is immeasurable. That was the weakest attempt at a gank I've ever seen. And now we've got this weird problem going on over here. Do I need to be over here? No, he's gonna get out because he just ulted. And then I'm just gonna kill you. No, you barely survived. That's because of the mild amounts of physical protection you have. I hope you have your teleport, because otherwise I just absolutely slapped you. Oh, Pele's gonna steal your mana buff and everything? That's just delicious. Perfect. Nah. He's not here. I appreciate the effort, though. Now, he clearly did not have his teleport because he is just not here. So, oh, there he is. Never mind. He is here. Alright, he did have his teleport. Nice job. No, that's not worth it. Not with Bozo here. Oh, that was for my bluestone pen. Oh, she's in here. What are you doing? Oh, you're just taking the tower. That's fine. I just am looking for some poke here. Oh, she's committing to this. All right. Okay. Don't get cocky. Oh, I gotta get out of here now. I was fine up until Sylvanas showed up. That's a problem. Yeah, Sylvanas was the fatality there. That was a good ult by the Sylvanas, by the way. Doesn't make a huge difference, though, because I have his tower, and I don't think he's going to have the time to push that back up because I have my teleport. Now, I can technically rotate for two reasons. First, I'm past level 12. You really don't want to rotate before level 12. There are a couple of specific reasons for this. First off, you attain your max speed at level 12. With the removal of boots, that is when you hit max move speed. So you're not at your top speed before level 12. So it's really not worth it for the solo lane to rotate before level 12. Now, that's not just a speed thing. You also need to keep in mind that your job is to get as beefy as possible in the solo lane, right? You can't do that if you're wandering through the jungle looking for trouble. It's just not going to happen if you spend too much time in the jungle. So if you try to rotate before level 12, you're just going to waste your time. You're going to lose golden experience that you desperately need to be getting. And at the end of the day, you're going to accomplish maybe a kill on mid, possibly on the jungler, but that's not going to be really worth it for losing your lane in the long run. So if you're playing the solo lane, don't rotate before level 12. It's just not worth it. Past level 12, it's a more viable idea if you get a kill. If you get a kill before you get their first tower, it's possible you can make a rotation work. It really depends on how long they're dead for. You want at least a 30-second death. As you just saw with Atlas there, 20 seconds is not enough. Because I was dead for a little longer than that. I was dead for 30 seconds, and he almost took the tower, but not quite. So 30 seconds is a minimum before you can even think about rotating. They need to be dead for 30 seconds at minimum before you can even conceive of making an effective rotation. And if you're really curb stomping, that is very possible. Or if you get a nice, sweet kill on an enemy solo lane who was ahead, that also is possible. It really depends. You should also only be rotating if your teleport is up, because you can teleport back into the lane. The exception to this, you'll notice that I actually rotated over. I'm actually going to rotate back now. I rotated over after Atlas died, and I have his second tower, but I didn't have teleport up. You'll notice I'm arriving at roughly the right time. I was a little late. If I had not dilly-dallied like I did before, you could see me kind of farting around the jungle for a little while there. If I had not dilly-dallied like that, I would have made it in time. I was too indecisive. I should have been going back a little earlier than that. And now that I've cleared this wave and I know he's not over here, I can go over there and get some nice rotations going on over here. But I'm going to be too late. If you have their first tower down, you have a little bit more leeway to rotate, as I just mentioned. So that's fairly nice. Let's see what we got over here. I know Lancelot is on his way in. Interesting. Nope, you just wasted your crowd control. What do we got over here? We have Geb, we have Lancelot. I'm trying to take out their damage, but that's just not working out for me. There goes Atlas at least, and there goes you. Should have stuck around. Oh, you're still fighting back here. Hello. I think between Geb and I, we can probably take him out, honestly. Ooh, good shield, good shield. Wait for it. Nope, he's gonna get too far out with that horse. Oh, Heimdall is here. Oh, she beats that? Oh, okay, I'm dead. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Haley's gonna save me. This has to be the... Alright. Holy cow. Did we win that fight? You'd have to see what the starting scores were for that. But hot damn, that was fire. Alright, so at this point, they have an even amount of magic and physical. Keep in mind that I'm counting for physical, I'm counting their towers and their minions, which do physical damage. So I want something else that boosts both at this particular point. Well, actually, how is Geb doing compared to Sylvanas? Geb is doing way better. Paley is doing better than their jungler is. Lancelot's actually wicked ahead. Alright, so what I'm going to do is splash in probably another hybrid item here. What do I want specifically? We're going to go for the sledge, because that's going to give me a nice combination of offense and defense. That might be too weak, but only time will tell. I might have to switch that out for a Mantle of Discord later on. Actually, I might just do that ahead of time. They have a pretty high damage comp. Well, no, with Atlas there, technically they have a weaker than average comp. I might be able to get away with this sledge. We'll have to see. I'll test it out. But the number one rule of builds with solo is you gotta be able to adapt. If you find something isn't working out, just switch it out. Alright? You don't want to fight me right now. Let me tell you. I have my ult. You're not gonna win that fight. I completely whiffed that, but alright. Nice play, nice play. Alright. Oh, I can tell I'm gonna need more protections just from this alone. Nope. You don't make it out of here. You don't make it out of here. Pele died, which is very unfortunate. There's... Okay, we're gonna have a problem here. It's a little late for me to retreat right now. I kind of have full committed on this, which is also partially my job. Alright. Come on. No dog for you. Are you gonna commit to this? Yes, you are. My hero. Holy cow. I gotta get the hell out of here. Alright. Oh. Can we get this? Is this possible? It is. Through the magic of dummy Sun Wukongs. Look how much I heal with that Caduceus shield. Alright. Uh-oh. Oh, she missed. We're still gonna have a bit of a problem here. I'm gonna make it out, though. Goodbye. Ooh, can I take this really quick? Oh, he's fighting that? Why? No, 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 no. Oh, goodness gracious me. Oh, she's... That was good. That was a good play. Oh, good play, good play. She's gonna get me, probably, because she actually knows what she's doing. Oh, really? Now you show up? Okay, the sledge isn't gonna work. I can already tell you right now I need more protections than what this is gonna provide me. This is gonna provide me... What is it? 24 tops? No, that's not gonna work. There we go. Now, good rule of thumb for solos. If you have, late game, the choice between damage or protections, get the protections. Now, at this point, I have what is a classic solo build, alright? Now, keep in mind that I already know mentally, I already know that I'm going for Bluestone Brooch, which is almost pure damage. There's a little bit of health there, but this is mostly for the damage, right? Damage item, damage item. My first two items out there. Hybrid, pure, alright? The hybrid pure combination really is more along the lines of the needs of the moment, but at the end of the day, I have two hybrid items in Gladiator's Shield and Caduceus Shield. Hybrid items being any item that gives you a combination of protections and power. Two pure damage items, which gives you power without protections. Health is one thing, but protections are the really important part here. And then finally, you've got two pure defense items that don't give you any power at all. No, you're not. Take care of you. Now, see, I took out both of them. I'm doing enough damage. I don't have a problem with my damage. This is actually one of the two reasons why I decided that I needed Mantle Discord more than anything else. I was doing enough damage to accomplish what I needed to. I know what you're going to try to do. It's not going to work out. Oh, it is going to work out the way, because you actually timed that really well, Sylvanas. Good job. Good job. That's fine, because in a perfect world, I get this 1,500 gold. He's going to die. When we lost that fight, he should have been retreating. He really should have been. He didn't need to be there. I understand he was trying to take mid lane. It wasn't going to happen. All three of them were up. There was no allies left alive to defend him. It wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't. I don't know why Atlas wasted his ult there. There was no way he was going to catch up to Pele. She's way faster than he is. It was a silly decision indeed. See, he's staying too long, Atlas. Right now, they're fighting for nothing. They are not. You might think they are. You might think, well, Professor, they're fighting for tower. Their hunter is dead. Okay? Lancelot is an ability-based assassin. Yeah, he's got some things there that increases auto attacks, his attack speed and whatnot, but that's not enough. It really isn't. And see, look, they overstayed, they died at damage for no reason. They weren't going to be able to kill Pele in time because she has a lot of self-heal. She's got her passive, she's got Soul Eater, she's got Jotuns. The Scotty killed her, yes, but Atlas and Sylvanas had no hope of killing her in time. They really did not. Uh-huh. Boom. Come here, Sylvanas. You're gonna die, you know this. You have Vegas? Nope. Goodbye. You might be able to catch up to me with your horse. Oh, you just blink. Fair enough. I'll respect that. We got Bluestone though, so now we're gonna. We would have killed Sylvanas if he had Bluestone. I shouldn't have committed so hard on Sylvanas. He's not doing well. He wasn't worth it. I really should not have bothered. That was a bad decision on my part. I should never have bothered. I should have focused on the soul and killed the Sylvanas incidentally. I shouldn't be attempting that. Yeah, she's gonna die. I'm very close to it. Oh, Pele's gonna... No, don't do that. Don't do that. Geb, just keep them off of it. Pele, take the fire giant. Pele... That worked, but more by accident than design. Grab this. Grab this. They killed the ward. Alright. Wait, how do you... Please? Does somebody have a... Please, somebody tell me they have a ward. Thank you. That's exactly what I needed. I'm just gonna defend. They don't need me to take that Gold Fury. I'm just gonna make sure the enemy doesn't go for it. There we go. This is something that is also not talked about very often with solo lanes. Your job is only to tank the jungle camps only if the support is not there. If the support is there, your job is actually to basically run intervention if you need to. I'm going for the Sylvanas too hard again. Doing it again. This time it's working out. I'm stuck for 12 years. Okay, we killed him. There we go. You've made a mistake, darling. Yeah. You should not have done that. Take you out. I think we can take you out because you're way too aggressive with this. No, you're out of here. Use your ult. That's fair. Oh, okay. There we go. There we go. But that is your job as a solo. If your support is there to tank the jungle camp, be this the Fire Giant or the Gold Fury, and they have the health for it, you don't need to be there. You're not going to do enough damage to matter at all there. As long as they have the hunter. If they have the hunter and the support present at the jungle camp, you're not needed. You should be running intervention. That is something I don't see enough solos knowing. I'm not even going to say they don't do. They don't know. No one's out here telling you people. Look, if you're solo, I really want you to understand this. I want you to memorize this. This is why I'm going to repeat it one last time. If your team's Guardian / support and your ADC is present at a jungle camp. Fire Giant, Gold Fury, whatever. You should be running intervention. That is what you should be doing. You only tank the jungle camps if the support isn't there, and you only help for damage if the hunter isn't there. That's it. It's that straightforward. Memorize this, because not enough people know. If you have solo lane friends, spread the damn word. Yeah, no, you're right. I shouldn't be here. I'm getting wicked aggressive here. Also, why is Lancelot over here? Alright, hold on. Can we do something about this? He shouldn't be here. And I don't know how he killed Pele. Where is he? There he is. I can kill you. Hold up. You're dead. Got him. Oh no, you're still here. Okay, hold up. Oh, Geb saved the day. Sweet. I stunned her first, which is hugely important. Alright, at this point, I'm just trying to scare her off. Are we committing to this? Alright, that's kind of insane, but sure. Let's go for it. Right? Oh, good Aegis. Good Aegis. Alright, she's out. There's no way we kill her. I'm just going to heal up here. I'm going to steal this because I can. We really don't need to be here. We don't need to be here. I'm going to be honest. We shouldn't be here anymore. There is two... Okay, it's just Sol and Sylvanas, but we really should be joining up with our team to make sure that we get something out of this. If we split off from our team, they're going to have no tanks to do anything with. It just is that simple. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, let's go for the Fire Giant. It's going to respawn soon enough. They're coming back. That's magical. It really is. Not sure why you're spending so much time on the Scorpion, but alright. Now, in this instance, we have Geb, we have Heimdall. I'm running intervention. Now, we have a ward here, which is really nice, which means I just have to kind of look at this direction, because this is where Sylvanas is. Here we go. You made a mistake. You shouldn't have done that. Hello. Boy, you people are goofing all over the place. Thank you, Yu Huang. I just realized I was probably in over my head on that one. Hunters are scary for solos because they are really going to be the ones that's going to punch through your defenses. I have no idea what the hell Heimdall is doing. But is it the wrong thing? Oh, he's going to try to push up the catapult. It's still the wrong thing. That the catapult does not need his help. We need him over here. I don't know why the hell he's over there. Ooh, did I make it? Oh, they saved my life. I'm actually going to send my fake me under there. It should be all he needs. Yeah. He didn't even need it, honestly. The minions were fine. But it was nice to have just in case. Alright. Alright, now I have to tank this because our support isn't here. So I am the one going to be... Well, okay, Pele's going to try to tank it, but I have to be here to sort of pseudo-tank this. Okay, Guardian's here. I'm out. I don't need to be here anymore. He's there to take over. Again, we have the ward there. We're going to look on this side. Alright, let's see if we can take... No, I was going to split off from the team to try to kill Scotty by myself, but the Hunter versus support solo is not a good idea. That's just asking to die for no reason. So I'm going to leave that one alone. Oh, who was that? Sylvanas. Interesting. I wonder if that was a rage quit. They're about to lose, so it's entirely possible. I should not have been shot by that. That was the shortest amount of time spent in a Phoenix on the face of the earth. I'm going for her because I have my ult, and that is basically the only reason. Also, I have the backup of my boy Geb here. I'm going to go ahead and reduce their protections here. We're going to go ahead and use this. You have the fake version of me running around. Again, she's made a goof. Oh, alright. Did we take that? We did, alright. I want to kill... We're not going to kill him. Now, they wouldn't have lost right here if they had Sylvanas. It probably would have taken us a second attack. We were able to push through that because they didn't have Sylvanas. But I want you to understand that that was really a strong showing. Now, notice that even with only 2 damage items, I did really well in terms of my damage. There are 2 reasons for this. One is Sun Wukong is a very heavily ability-based warrior. Most of his damage is in his abilities. Behold Bluestone Brooch, an additional 50 plus 7.5% of their current health. Now, for squishier targets, that 7.5% of their current health isn't as important because their current health is, even their maxed health is low. So it doesn't really matter if they lose 7.5%. It's going to be really nice sort of entry damage when they're at max health or close to it. But mostly that's for dealing with the enemy tanks without actually needing to build up too much in the way of penetration. You'll actually notice I only have 10%. Furthermore, Soul Eater, again, this was really helpful for a couple of reasons. Soul Eater is really fascinating on ability-based solo laners because with the combination of protections, you're going to out-heal a lot of what's coming at you. You'll notice really only Soul and Scotty were able to out-damage my healing. Even Lancelot had a hard time without his abilities. He could full combo me and outpace my healing, except for my ult. But unless he full comboed me, unless he used his entire kit on damaging me, I was going to be able to match him heal for damage. And this is because of the combination of Soul Eater, my protections, and him only building Titan's Bane at the very end. You can actually see where he totally changed his strategy. He sold his starter item in favor of Titan's Bane. This is how much of a threat I apparently was to him. He couldn't kill me fast enough, so he needed the extra penetration from Titan's Bane. Now, Titan's Bane was a mistake for a totally different reason. I'm going to get into that. He actually chose the wrong item to kill me there. I'll get into that in a minute. But these 2 items, and again, Soul Eater, I picked first for 2 reasons. One, I didn't know who my solo lane opponent was going to be. It could have been Lancelot. He's good in solo lane. It could have been Atlas. Not as good in solo lane. I'll cover that in a minute. I was personally expecting Sylvanas, because Sylvanas actually does a pretty good job in solo lane if you build him correctly. And ironically, Sylvanas built more towards the solo line than anything else. But again, we'll get to that. So, Soul Eater, building that damage up early before the enemy has their protections up is really useful because not only will you get the 40 physical power and the increased lifesteal from everything, you're going to be healing more because they don't have their protections up yet, but even as they build up their protections, you have the 10% penetration that'll help you overcome those protections as they're being built up, and it gives you 10% cooldown reduction, which is really nice. If you're going to build this, you're going to build this on an ability-based warrior, and you're going to build this really early. If you know for a fact, I can't even say you know for a fact. If you are extremely confident in who your enemy solo laner is going to be, you're that confident, build the protection item first. If I'm supremely confident that my opponent's going to be physical, I'll build Gladiator's Shield first. That'll be my first build. If I'm really confident they're going to be magic, I'll probably build with at least Sun Wukong, Caduceus Shield, or Genji's Guard. If I was a non-self-healing warrior, I might go for Sledge instead of Caduceus Shield. They have pretty similar output here in terms of protections and health. The Sledge gives me 24 when 3 enemies are near me. Caduceus Shield gives me 30. It's a bit of a difference, and Caduceus Shield is a constant 30 rather than the conditional 24 of the sledge, but they're close enough where if I'm going up against a magic opponent, I might build the sledge over this if I don't heal myself, or Genji's Guard, it really depends. I built Caduceus Shield specifically because I am Sun Wukong. I do have that self-heal, which is really nice, so I knew Caduceus Shield was going to really help me overcome any anti-heal they built, which is something else I want to talk about. Plus, it would give me the physical protections to deal with the minions in lane, and the magic protections to help deal with Atlas. Now, I mentioned that Warlock Staff as a first item was a mistake. This seems incredibly impressive. It really does. 155 magic power, 255 health, 200 mana, and 10% penetration. It sounds incredible for a solo lane Atlas. And it can be. I'm not denying that. But he started working towards this even after he fell behind. I killed him first. Now again, as I mentioned earlier, the first death isn't a huge deal. But it was an indication that he was going to have a really difficult fight. And Warlock Staff requires a lot of stacks, and Atlas needs to actually deal the finishing blow for these. The nice thing about Soul Eater is, I just have to see something die to get the stack, basically. I don't have to kill it myself. It just needs to die in visual range. That is not the case for Warlock Staff. Not only does it have a high stack requirement, I think it's 75 or 100, I can never remember because they keep changing it. Not only does it require at minimum 75 stacks, but they need to be your kills. Atlas is a Guardian. He does not have that much damage. He does not have that much scaling, and I'll show this to you at the end of the match. But he had died first, which was a bad indication. He already had bad beginning damage output because he's a Guardian. And I was already building some self-heal. I was already building some penetration. I was already building some cooldown. I had Blue Stone, and I had Soul Eater. I was going to outdamage him well before he evolved this. The item itself isn't the issue. It's the context of this purchase. Okay, I want you to understand that. It's one thing to know what to build. It's another thing entirely to know in what situation you should be building it, because that is a totally different conversation. Okay, Warlock Staff is good on Atlas. Do not misunderstand me. It can be an incredibly powerful item on Atlas in the right situation, and this was not it. The instant he died first, even if he was going to make recovery, which he very well could have done, as you noticed, I was the next to die, breaking me even, putting Atlas back on level, back on pace, right? My second death was a bit of a problem for me. Well, my first death was a bit of a problem for me because I was the second one to die. But there was an opportunity there for Atlas to catch up, which is fine. But he started with this absolutely insane idea of going for Warlock Staff first, when he was already a little behind from dying first. Not by much, just slightly, but enough where this shouldn't have been an option for him. If he wanted to build this later after getting himself some actual damage to finish off minions, that's a different conversation. Okay? This should not be, in most situations, the second item you get as even an Atlas solo. That was one really big mistake. This is why he never actually recovered. That's why he went 510. That's why he was 6,000 down from me. This was his second pickup. His third pickup, maybe, if he built more damage first. If he'd even built Jade Emperor's Crown first, get the protections you need to survive me, then start building these stacks, that's a different story entirely. But as the situation was evolving, he shouldn't have been building this. And, you know, Sun Wukong just does so well with Gladiator's Shield because of his passive. For those of you who don't know, his passive increases his protections and power when he's under, I think, a quarter of his health, which means Gladiator's Shield hits even harder. And Mantle of Discord, again, this was something I adapted into. I was originally going to build the Sledge, but that wasn't going to be enough protections, so I went with Mantle of Discord. Alright, now also notice, I have a nice, beautiful, perfect 40% cooldowns. 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. This will be relevant later. Now, for the purposes of solo lane, I'm only going to talk about my support and my jungle, okay? Because how well your ADC and how well your mid lane do really doesn't matter to you as a solo lane. They can be doing whatever they want. They can be doing as well or as poorly as they want. That's not going to affect your plan, your decision making, or your build, okay? Geb. Geb did really well. Notice that Geb was 4,000 gold higher than Sylvanas. Normally, this would be an indication that I need to build a little more aggressively, which is one of the 2 reasons why I was originally going for the sledge. The second reason is Atlas as a Guardian solo was going to do less damage overall in theory. I changed my mind based on 2 things. One, Lancelot was slapping way harder than Pele was. 2, Atlas was building substantially more damage than he really should have been. I'll get back to that. But that's why I ultimately went with Mantled Discord. Okay? The enemy was slapping harder than I was expecting. Soul factored into this mildly, but again, I'll get back to that. But the Geb was doing absolutely fantastic, which is part of the reason why I decided to start with the Sledge and then changed later on. Pele, at the time that I was building Sledge, was doing okay, but Lancelot was well ahead of her. She did a really nice catch-up here where she was only, 500 gold behind or so? I would say approximately 500 gold she was behind by at the end. She made a nice recovery towards the end there. Really my only criticism of her build is it's kind of wild. She went with Protector of the Jungle, which is great on Pele. Don't get me wrong, that's fantastic. Went with Soul Eater, also fantastic. Got Jotun's Vigor, a little questionable, but I can understand it. Rage, I'm behind this. I mean, she's got the attack speed. She's got Soul Eater. I'm down. Jotun's Vigor makes less sense in context of Rage being afterwards. Notice, by the way, she didn't finish this. Then she goes Heartseeker. Look, if you're going to build somebody who can build either auto attacks or abilities, well, you got to fully commit. Heartseeker was where she's... You notice also, in the mid, even by the mid game, she was doing okay. But she wound up with a negative score of 8 kills, 10 deaths. She still did well overall. She was where she needed to be. She was targeting the people she needed to target. Her gameplay was on point. But she started falling behind. Why? She didn't fully commit to the auto attack strategy. Alright? Soul Eater, as amazing as it is on Pele, maybe should have been Bloodforge or Aussie. This early in the game, probably Aussie. Jotun's Vigor. Maybe you shouldn't have gone for that. Maybe you should have gone Brawler's Beatstick. Which she didn't get, by the way. She was trying to hybridize too much and try to get this weird balance of auto attacks and abilities. And that isn't how builds can work right now. You really need to fully commit. And it was that kind of attempt at a hybridization of the 2 damage types that's really got her... that's really what the issue there was, okay? That straight up, that was what the problem here was, is she hesitated on what she wanted to fully commit on. She tried to merge the 2. She started falling apart because no one source of damage was really doing enough here. That's what that comes down to. I didn't actually realize this until just now looking at it, because I was kind of looking at, okay, you know, she's got Protector of the Jungle, she's got Evolved Soul Eater, she's got Jotun's Vigor, this is all just lifesteal for abilities. I didn't realize that she had Rage. Either I didn't notice or she hadn't finished building it. I thought she might have... I think... I would have to go back and check the footage. But she might have been... I believe she was only part of the way through this, or I mistook this for Deathbringer, one or the other. Because Deathbringer with a full ability build can still work if you have auto attacks, because you can get the version that decreases your cooldowns when you get crits, which can be really useful even for ability builds. But she didn't have that, and I didn't realize that at the time. Otherwise, I would have gone for Mantle of Discord much earlier. Probably wouldn't have died. I probably would have died one less time. It's not that big of a deal, but I wasn't paying enough attention to this. Now, the Sylvanas fell behind Geb for one very simple reason. He had the wrong starter item. The rest of his build is fantastic. He had the wrong starter item. Notice Geb had Sentinel's Embrace / Sentinel's Gift. This allowed him to get HP, MP, and gold from his assists. Sylvanas, he built Mannequin Scepter. Mannequin Scepter can be good on Sylvanas in a solo lane role. Support Sylvanas should not have this. Support Sylvanas should have either Benevolence if you're feeling aggressive, or Sentinel's Gift if you're not. Mannequin Scepter is what you build on a solo lane Sylvanas. Okay? He was not getting the same levels of healing, mana restoration, or gold that Geb was getting in the early game because he didn't have Sentinel's Gift, and this is what crippled Sylvanas. Sylvanas' gameplay, as I mentioned several times throughout the match, Sylvanas' gameplay was absolute fire. Bomb King XD genuinely and legitimately knows how to play Sylvanas. Bomb King XD does not know the starter items to build on Sylvanas and support. Maybe they were trying something new. Maybe they were doing a crazy starter item. Maybe they have a channel. I don't know. But Mannequin Scepter is not the move if you are a support Sylvanas. This is what you build as a solo Sylvanas. It is also possible, by the way, incidentally, it is also entirely possible that Sylvanas got the solo role, picked Sylvanas, traded roles with Atlas, wound up a support, forgot, and picked Mannequin Scepter, having forgotten that they were no longer the solo role. Or, alternatively, they're partied up with the Scotty, and they really have this great strategy where they go really aggro and the Mannequin Scepter's damage really matters. It could be one of those two things. I don't know. All I can tell you is, this, even with partying up with a ADC, this is a risk. Okay, if you don't win that lane immediately, you're going to fall apart in the late game exactly like Sylvanas did here. Okay? This is why Geb pulled ahead so much. This is why Geb was 4,000 gold ahead of Sylvanas. This is why Sylvanas did not finish his build by the end of the game. Unlike almost everyone else. Sol had a bit of an issue. I actually want to talk about this. I didn't need to talk about our mid because they built really standard. They built fine. This was probably a response to the Sol doing badly at the beginning. I don't know why people keep building Hunter's Cowl. It's not as good as it used to be. That's a gripe for another video entirely. I think this is overrated. I'll talk about that in a future video. Anyways, back to the Sol. Sol was mid lane. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Sol plays a strong mid lane. Sol can do absolutely amazing things in mid lane. Sol is often considered a magic ADC. Her auto attacks hit really hard. She does a lot of her damage through her auto attacks. I don't have any problems with this. This is not something I'm questioning. But Sol is still a mage, and she still has impressive ability-based damage that a frequent camper did not take advantage of, and as a result, made Sol too auto-attacky. Now, what's the difference, Professor? You might be asking yourself, why does it matter if Sol goes auto-attacking as a mid laner? The mid lane, which we'll talk about in an episode in the near future, the mid lane's job in a team fight in the late game is to deal as much damage to as many enemies as possible. We're talking large, wide, sweeping abilities that do stupid amounts of damage. That is the dream of mid lanes. When you pick a mid laner and focus on their auto attacks hit one target. You're wiping out your ability to deal wide sweeping areas of damage to the enemy team. And this is what Sol gave up when she picked auto attacking as her method of damage output. Now, Scotty tried, and you can see this in her build. Scotty tried to compensate. We have Bluestone, not too unusual to see on Scotty. It can work either way. I'm not the biggest fan of this, but it can work. The Crusher. Okay, definitely excellent on Scotty. One of my favorite items on her. Very nice, very nice. Soul Eater. Yep, totally understand. Get collar chewing on people for HP. That's fine. Yep. No, well, not chewing, but blizzarding on people for HP because the blizzard heals you. I don't think collar heals you with Soul Eater. Jotun's Vigor. Alright, now we're starting to see a very definite ability-based focus. Heartseeker, that's fine. Titan's Bane. Pure ability, well, almost a pure ability build. There's a little bit of reference to auto-attacking in the Crusher and Soul Eater. Mostly ability-based. The problem is that Scotty doesn't have large, wide, sweeping ability effects, which is why I don't build her ability-based. I know a lot of people are tempted to because of Calder. Calder is an accessory. He is not the actual character. A lot of people say that Calder is the god and Scotty is the sidekick. It's a funny meme, but if you ever say that about a Scotty, they're building Scotty wrong. That's what it comes down to. Calder is not the main source of damage for Scotty. Calder is very easy to eliminate from a fight. Okay? He basically does get 2 lives per fight because of the ult, but once that ult is down and once Calder is dead, Calder does not impact the fight anymore. You could actually see that when Scotty was under the mid lane tower when I was attacking him from behind, and you could hear Calder bark when he was a ghost. That's because she activated Calder at 1 HP, and I just happened to use my spin to win at that exact moment, instantly eliminating Calder from trying to attack me. And as a result, she died. Scotty did. If you're saying in a match against Scotty, oh man, Calder's the real god of that combo. That Scotty's building wrong, and you can probably overcome Calder much easier than you realize. You're just intimidated by his damage output. Don't be. Just kill him. Honestly. And this is what fell apart here. Soul went auto attacks and gave up her ability to do large amounts of damage in a wide area. You might not think Soul can do that, but she really can. Soul mains know what I'm talking about. The ult, to circle, blast. If you're really aggressive as a Soul, which you should be, you can use her little fire circle for decent amounts of damage, especially if you grab Soul Reaver. Stupid amounts of damage out of that. You can use good old Gem of Isolation to lock people down and really slap them. The only items on Soul's build that I really agree with is Nimble Rod of Tahuti. I'm going to be really honest. You should always be building this on Soul, even if you're going ability based. Because the Meteor version, which I cannot remember the Catastrophic Rod of Tahuti requires the mage that's equipping it to have the kind of stun or crowd control that will lock them down long enough for that meteor to hit. Soul doesn't have that. She's got a knockback, she's got a slow. She gets Gem of Isolation, she's got a whole bunch of slows, but a slow isn't often enough to keep an enemy in place long enough for the meteor to hit them. So that's kind of a waste. It's a waste to build the Calamitous Rod of Tahuti on Soul, because that meteor is almost never going to actually hit them. Nimble Rod is better. Always. Ability Soul, Auto Soul. Doesn't matter. Nimble Rod. The rest of this, I mean, the Demonic Grip and the Telkine's Ring were mistakes. Spear of the Magus is fantastic on Soul. This was great. She should have doubled down, gone full lifesteal, gone Bancrofts, gone Telkines instead of these 2 rings. That would have been fantastic. Should have built, and the Spirit of Desolation isn't bad. Should have gone for this earlier, but still a good pick here. It really comes down to the fact that she had Gilded Arrow as her starter item, and she had the 2 rings. But she gave up her ability-based damage, and as much as Scotty was building towards ability damage, Scotty doesn't have the kind of wide sweeping effects. The widest thing she's got is her Ice, which hits like a wet noodle even with full ability damage. Alright, you could see that. When I was sliding around in that little narrow corridor for 12 years on that ice, I wasn't taking a whole lot of damage from that. Okay, despite the fact that she had a lot of penetration, I wasn't taking very much from that. No one was. And that's her widest ability. She has the Ice Spear Throw, which can hit multiple people, but it's pretty difficult because they basically have to be lined up, and that's not common. She has her Blizzard, but that's a small blizzard around her and her dog. And as Scotty, as a ranged character, as a hunter, it's not terribly often that you want to get into melee range as Scotty, so that's more of a defensive option in that circumstance. And then, of course, she's got Calder, who targets one person. Scotty does not have the capacity to play as a mage. I don't care what anyone says. I've seen people take Skadi into the mid lane. I've never seen it go well. I've taken Skadi into the mid lane. I've made it work once, and that wasn't even me. I didn't even have a good score that game. That was the jungler carrying me very hard on their back while I was playing mid lane Skadi. Alright, Skadi can't play physical mage. There are hunters that can do it. Neith, Chiron. Great hunters that can build around their abilities and basically operate as physical mages. Fantastic options. Skadi isn't one of them. And I'm pretty confident Skadi probably doubled down on the idea when she realized Soul was not building for abilities. Because these first 3 items are very commonly built on Skadi's. These are classics. Jotun's a little less of a classic. I can totally understand it, but you don't really need a ton of cooldown reduction as Skadi because Kaldera's life regeneration does not depend on cooldown. Unless they changed it and I'm not aware, but I don't believe it is. I'll double check that really quick before the episode ends. But yeah, cooldown isn't that important to Skadi. So the fact that she built this, most likely for the cooldown, gave away the fact that she was trying to build ability-based in a situation where it was never going to actually fulfill the role that Soul should have been filling. Now, finally, let's talk about Atlas. Atlas. Alright. There are a couple of things that makes the gem the wrong starter item for Atlas. 1. His abilities hit multiple times frequently. You throw out the Astrolabe, you do the pulses, you're going to be able to pulse that for weeks. You've got the dash, which is a single target thing, that's fine. You've got the grab, which, if you hit it, lasts for a fairly long amount of time. That's a whole weekend by itself. This doesn't trigger that often. What Atlas needed as a solo laner, who probably was going against Sun Wukong, it was pretty obvious. I'm not exactly subtle here. The Empiric Shroud. Think about it very briefly with me. I know this episode isn't focused on Atlas, but he was in the solo lane, so let's talk about this. The Empiric Shroud provides magic lifesteal. He evolves into an item with even more magic lifesteal. Atlas. All of his abilities do damage. His dash does damage. Throwing the Astrolabe does damage. The pulse does damage. He has his passive auto attack where he's got that circle auto attack after every ability. That does damage. That does good damage. He's got his pull. That does damage. Alright. Everything Atlas does damage. Therefore, with lifesteal, specifically with the Empiric Shroud, which also gives him physical protections, which would have helped against me a little bit, the Empiric Shroud would heal him in all situations. Furthermore, it gives him the sustain he would have needed against Sun Wukong. Now, you might have noticed me talking a lot about the fact that I can self-heal through my ult. Sustain is very important in the solo lane. You're called solo lane for a reason. You're going to be alone a lot. Yeah, sure, the junglers may come in and gank you occasionally. That's their part of their job. They want to keep you from getting too beefy. But the longer you can stay in lane, the beefier you get, because you're not losing any of that experience in gold. So the more sustain you have, and this is actually, you'll notice that despite the fact that I only killed Atlas twice in the first half of the game, or at least was partially responsible for his death one way or the other, despite that, he started falling behind again. I killed him, I pulled ahead, I died to Lancelot, he caught up. Once he caught up, I was slowly wearing him down, and that's because I could sustain. I had self-heal. Even when I didn't have my mana buff, I still had more mana than him, because he didn't have any sustain. I at least had a self-heal. I was ahead and I had access to the totem. He had none of this. He should have built an Empiric Shroud, which would have given him health from both the lifesteal and the passive effect, and it would have given him mana. It would have increased the amount of damage everything he does would be doing. The Empiric Shroud would have been a much better starter item. Warlock Staff we've already covered. Jade Emperor's Crown isn't a bad idea, but this is really more in line with auto-attacking enemy team compositions. The Pele did look like she was going for auto-attacks for a majority of the game, so I'll give him some slack on this. This wasn't as bad of a purchase as retrospectively it was, but he probably would have been better off with something else. Really, like a Breastplate of Valor for 20% cooldowns, especially if he did pick up Vampiric Shroud. That's lots of lifesteal, it's mana regeneration. You've got MP5 from Breastplate of Valor, you've got 20% cooldowns from Breastplate of Valor, you've got physical protections from Breastplate of Valor. Breastplate would have been better here for him. This was his next mistake. You know, the Jade Emperor's Crown is acceptable. I can understand why he built this, when he did, why he did. I understand this. Again, retrospectively, not the best choice. But in the moment, this was a good option. Not the best. The best would have been Breastplate. But he didn't have Empiric Shroud, so that wouldn't have mattered either. This was an acceptable option. Good enough. This was a mistake. He already was behind. He was already having a hard time surviving. He built Spear of Desolation to try to outdamage me as a Guardian with low scaling. You can say a lot of things about Guardians. Tons of things. Some true, some false. But one thing that you can never say, and nobody will probably be joking about, is that they have high scaling. They don't. I can only think of 2 Guardians that have even decent scaling. Neither of them is Atlas. This was a mistake because that magic power is going nowhere for him. He's not getting his bang for his buck there. Spectral Armor, this was a good pickup. Heimdall had crits. Pele had crits. Makes some sense. I totally feel that. I don't know what the hell this was going to be, but it was going to be a mistake. It does not matter what it was going to be. He was, again, already having a hard time surviving. He wasn't going to hit hard as a Guardian. This was going to be a waste. Even if this was Soul Reaver, at that point he was too far behind for that to make a difference. There was only 2 tanks, myself and Geb, and he still wasn't going to outdamage me because I have a self-healing ult, and he had 0 sustain. Even at the end, he had some MP5 out of Spectral Armor, and that's literally it. He has no other form of... he's got MP5 here. That's it. That is the Atlas's... that was the crux of the Atlas's problem, okay? That was the issue. I'm actually going to ignore the Lancelot for now. That is an entire conversation that deserves its own episode. That is a wild build. He played really well. His build is nuts. And I don't want to tackle that here. This video has been long enough. And the enemy jungler's build isn't going to matter too much to you as a solo. So we're just going to leave that one be. We don't care. We really don't. But I hope this really... I'm going to be doing more solo episodes because this is an ability-based solo lane. I would like to show you more solo laners, more mid laners. But I hope this really shined a light on the solo lane process. Hopefully. I could have been... my only self-criticism for this episode is I could have been a bit more clear about why I chose defense, but quite frankly, again, that was a choice that I kind of made in the middle, based on the fact that Lancelot was clearly building specifically to counter myself and Geb, who he was definitely having a hard time killing, and a kind of a response to the Atlas trying and failing to build more damage. But yes, I'll hopefully be able to cover that a little bit better in future episodes, but if you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.